Ryan heard her voice coming through the door. "Ryan, are you ready?" she asked. He was ready not just for the dinner, but also to propose to her. He removed the tiny box from the cupboard drawer and placed it carefully in his jacket. They had been together for as long as he could remember. She was the granddaughter of the man who employed his father, but she never acted superior to him. She had been his constant companion since he was 10 years old and she was 15. His father was once falsely accused of stealing. However, Rima helped clear his father's name by providing evidence of his innocence, which resulted in his father and her grandfather becoming closer and dependent on each other. Consequently, her grandfather admitted him to the same school as her, and they started hanging out. She shielded him from school bullies by always being by his side outside his classes. Furthermore, she protected him from strict teachers by assisting him with his assignments and tests. There was nothing she wouldn't do for him, from comforting him when he cried to carrying him on her back when he was injured. After graduating, Ryan joined her grandfather's company, and they have worked together ever since. However, she had been distancing herself from him for the past 3 months, and he wasn't sure why. He felt she was avoiding him, maybe because she was afraid of commitment, specifically since he had expressed interest in marrying her. After a 3-month absence, she called and asked him for dinner. As always, she took the lead in their relationship. He didn't mind, though, as anything was better than her ignoring him. "Ryan," she called him once again. "I'm here," he replied as he stepped out and went straight to hug her. She hugged him back and held him close for a few seconds longer than usual. He smiled. "It looks like someone missed me." She whispered, "I did miss you, and missed you a lot." Ryan was taken aback by her sincere confession as they slowly pulled away. He smiled, and she smiled back. He noticed dark circles under her eyes, hidden by her makeup, and gently brushed his thumb over them. "Are you not sleeping again? It's not good for your health," he scolded her. She smiled and pulled him towards her car. "Where are we going?" he asked. "I'm taking you to a nice little place. It's a romantic place with good reviews," Rima replied. "Oh, it's a romantic place," he smirked. "For a candlelight dinner," he teased. "Where else will you go on a date? I can't take you to a pizza joint for our second date, can I?" She smiled. As Ryan watched Rima take the driver's seat, his heart skipped a beat. He had often asked her out on a date, but she had always refused him, ordering him to date someone his age. However, she had finally yielded once she realized how persistent he was. They had gone to an elegant but remote little cafe for their first date. They had teased each other and enjoyed free-flowing conversations until a phone call cut short their lovely evening. Rima's housekeeper had called to inform her that her grandfather had suffered a heart attack, and security was taking him to the hospital. They had rushed to the hospital, cutting short their date, but unfortunately, Rima's grandfather stopped breathing before they reached the hospital. Suddenly, Rima became the sole owner of her grandfather's business empire. She, along with her cousins and uncles, immersed herself in running the business, and they had all successfully managed the transition. During this time, Rima and Ryan's relationship seemed to be put on hold. Ryan stood by her, hoping that everything would soon settle down. Rima never indicated to him that she wanted him to move on, and Ryan didn't want to move on either. He was willing to wait for her as long as it took. Finally, going out on a date today made Ryan feel they were progressing slowly and surely towards a new future. During the dinner, they reminisced about their shared childhood and discussed the difficulties they had faced in the last couple of years after her grandfather's death. Finally, the waiter brought their dessert, her favorite mango cheesecake. Pretending to pick up the spoon he dropped while trying to eat the cheesecake, Ryan bent down on his knee and opened the box with the ring. She was shocked when he asked, "Will you, the love of my life, marry me?" Tears streamed down her face, and she hugged him, crying. Worried, Ryan held her tight and comforted her. "What is it, darling?" he asked. He knew she was not upset with his proposal because she should have known by now his intentions. And if she were upset with him, she would have walked out, not cried. "Why are you crying, sweetheart?" he asked again. She shook her head, wiped her tears, and asked him to propose again. Ryan obliged, went down on his knees, held the ring, and repeated his question. His joy knew no bounds when she said yes, and he put the ring on her finger. They celebrated and later took a stroll in a nearby park, holding hands and kissing. Finally, they drove home, and he was reluctant to let her go. "Why don't you stay tonight?" he asked. She smiled. "I wish I could, my love," she replied, "but I have to go back." "Wait, what? Where are you going?" Ryan asked. "Ryan, I have left an important letter for you with Mr. Abbott. Can you get it from him tomorrow?" "Of course, darling," he replied. "After that, we will talk," Rima told him, kissing him one last time before running to her car and getting in. She then blew him a flying kiss as her car drove away from him. Ryan was confused and happy after she finally agreed to marry him. He sent her a good night and "I love you" message and went to bed later that night. She replied, "I love you too, Ryan. Remember that I love you no matter what. Good night." He tried to ask her what she meant, but she didn't respond. Eventually, he fell asleep, still mulling over the night's events. Ryan woke up the next day to a call from Mr. Abbott. "Hello," Ryan answered the call in his groggy voice. "Have you seen the news yet?" asked Mr. Abbott curtly. "What? No, I'm still sleeping," Ryan replied, utterly confused. "You better turn the news on," came another curt statement from Mr. Abbott before disconnecting the call. The news was loudly broadcasting the unexpected death of the heir to the Skylark Empire. It was reported that Ms. Rima Azar's car lost control and swerved off the bridge, plunging into the river and killing her. Ryan was overwhelmed with pain and shock and screamed uncontrollably. 2 days after the funeral, Ryan went to Mr. Abbott's office to receive a letter from his fiancée. The letter stated that she had left him her share of the company's stocks and house. Additionally, she had divided the rest of her wealth among her nieces and nephews. Ryan's voice broke as he asked, "When did she make this will?" Mr. Abbott squeezed his shoulder. "Ryan, Rima had 4th-stage blood cancer." He heard a gasp, but continued. "She didn't want anyone to know about it, so she kept it under wraps. She made this will a couple of days before the accident and wanted me to give it to you along with her letter. Please read it, and I hope you understand her decisions and wishes." Feeling defeated, Ryan returned home and immediately opened the letter. "My dear Ryan, I am writing this letter to express my love for you. I know you love me too, but unfortunately, we are not meant to be together. I cannot continue to die little by little every day, waiting for the final moment. So I have decided to end things quickly. Please accept everything I am giving you with all my heart. Remember me and live your life to the fullest. Travel, fall in love, get married, have children. Can you do it for both of us? I love you dearly and hope we will meet again someday. Yours forever, Rima."